Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Discworld launch party. We just launched our Kickstarter for Discworld, the TTRPG. Today, this morning, we've already been fully funded, but we are working on reaching those stretch goals, and we're so excited to have everybody here to celebrate that with us and ask your questions about the Kickstarter. So that's what we are doing during this segment. My name is April Hill. I am the community manager here at Modifius, and I am joined today by Chris and Cam, who are some of our lovely senior management and owners, and y'all were here through the very beginning, right, of everything. So, I mean, Chris is the founder, and then, so I would like to go ahead and let y'all introduce yourselves. Chris, do you want to start?
Hey everyone. I started Modifius with my wife Rita, with our little baby Acton Cthulhu project, with lots of Nazis and Cthulhu creatures running around chasing the Allies. And here we are, 12 years later. So it's been quite a fantastic journey, and this has been a dream project we've been hoping to do for such a long time.
And Cam?
Hi, I'm Cameron Dicks. I am the managing director. I'm a massive Discworld fan, so this has been a dream come true for me. I do all of the boring stuff that means running a company. Is the short version.
It was about time that we gave you something that you really, really enjoy. This was your one big ask.
Yeah, I've been pestering Chris about this one since the day I joined. So I'm 6.5 years in, and I'm like, well, what about Discworld? Have we thought about Discworld? Can we do Discworld?
That's actually perfect to start talking about. So to start chatting about, everybody was really surprised when we announced that we were making a game, a tabletop role playing game for Discworld. So how did that come about? I know, Cameron, you said that you asked, you've been like, this is what I want, but how did that process come about?
I mean, it's there was lots of waiting. I mean, a lot of these things, they take time, and you send messages, and maybe you don't send the message to the right person, and then eventually you find the right person. And in this case, I just happened to see the Pratchett Estates lawyer mentioned something on LinkedIn about Discworld. So I was like, quickly wrote them a message. Hey, we do all these other really awesome role-playing games, and we'd love to do something with Terry Pratchett's Discworld. And cut a long story short, well then, 2 weeks later, we're having lemon drizzle cake with Rob Wilkins and his son Louis in our kitchen. They turn up at my door holding this little cake package, and so Louis is a big role-playing games fan, and is quite involved as well. And it just happened that he's been a big fan of a lot of our games, and when the email came in going, we've got this weird company that wants to do a game based on Discworld, that they were like, oh great, good timing. And it's sometimes it's right time, right place, but that wasn't out of the blue. We'd been emailing for a long time, so you just got to be persistent. And we all got on really well, had a cup of tea and a bit of cake in classic Pratchett style, and made friends, and we're like, let's make a really cool game, and here we are. And loads of people did loads and loads and loads of hard work to get us to this point, but mine was the easy bit, really.
Cameron, did you have any sway in some of these decisions about when Chris was meeting with people from the estate?
Yeah, I mean, we're a completely remote company now, so I couldn't be there in person, which was killer because I'd love to be there. But me and Chris talk all the time about this sort of stuff, and we were always chasing the next IP and the next thing. And like I said, 6.5 years I've been asking for Discworld. So as soon as we got a response from Rob, I'm like, Chris, you have to cancel other meetings. You'll find a way to talk to them. You have to do this project. And then it's the like Chris said, the people that they go off and do all the work. So then you get excited and you go like, okay, yeah, we can definitely make this work. We run, the feasibility, all the boring stuff, the feasibility assessment of whether we can do it, whatever. And I'm sat there making business plans and strategies and whatever. And I'm like, Chris, it definitely works. But my calculations say that we have to do it.
Yeah, Cam did all the number crunching to make sure that, with these kind of deals, it's not just about did we get on well. And I think Rob and the family are very much in favour of working with people they like, and they're absolutely amazing, lovely, some of the best licensors to work with. Don't tell everyone else. But we still had to do the numbers to keep the lawyers happy, and he's got to do right by the Pratchett estate. So we had to do some number crunching, and Cam did all the budgets and made sure that we could offer enough money to make it at least as good as anyone else could offer, and we had a good process to making it work. Yeah,
no, I definitely say, and then me and Chris do all that bit and the glad handing and the figuring out does it fit into the business, but then really the hard, like Chris said, the hard work, the hard yards get done by the rest of the team. That you'll see some of them soon straight after us, the next people up off the block there. They did a lot of the hard work, and then you've got a lot of the unsung heroes that you'll see in the credits that have done a fantastic job getting this whole thing together. And it helps to have so many people that love Discworld internally, right? It wasn't just my personal pet project that I'm like, Chris, we have to do this. I don't care what anyone else. I don't care if no one's ever heard of it. It was asking around. We like to ask around actually the business as well when we're starting a new IP. Me and Chris, first of all, try and figure out whether or not it's worth it. And then we say to everybody in the company, right, anyone heard of this? Anyone like it? Anyone big fan? Because we like to work on things that our staff want to work on, not just do things for the sake of doing things.
Yeah, so speaking on that, you did say that it was kind of funny when you said even if nobody's ever heard of it. Just from our Kickstarter numbers alone, just from the few hours it's been out, I think a lot of people have heard of it. Just maybe
it turns out. I mean, that was the thing. I mean, the great thing is being a very predominantly British company, but obviously we've got some extended family around the world. So many in the company were like, immediately loved it, and you can see in the way that how we talk on the page, or the language, it's a lot of that the writing just comes naturally to the people because they're such big fans, and I think that shows, and we've worked really hard, and we always do. I mean, you'll have seen if you followed our work with like John Carter and Conan and Mass Effect and Fallout, the people who work on it in the company absolutely really live and breathe it, and they're super fans, and it's the only way to do it, I think.
Yeah, so I know that both of you were big fans of Discworld before we started working on it here with the new TTRPG. Can you tell me what's been your experience like growing up and reading these books? Like what are some experiences you can speak to personally on some of your favorite books and how you got into them and what they mean to you and stuff like that? I'd love to hear about it. So
yeah, I mean, specifically for me, right, it's massively formative for me. Like the only book series I own every single copy of. It's still sat on my shelf in the living room. I think it's one of those things that like you don't think that you like reading when you're a kid or when you're a teenager or whatever until you find a thing that just makes you cannot put it down. And I think that was always specifically Discworld. I mean, I love all of Soteri's work, but Discworld really was just like absolutely my thing. Like I've read every single book. I've listened to all the audiobooks. I've read the books multiple times. I just finished another book while I was on holiday this year for the third time or something of reading. And I'd say, I know everyone's got their favourite, right? Everybody's got the thing that resonates with the most, and like the go-to always, I think, is the Watch. And I do love the Watch books, I have to admit. I think the Watch books probably are the most archetypal, the biggest, like the biggest arc, the thing that touches the most parts of the disc. In a lot of ways, but then the Witches are amazing, and then you were like, oh no, but I can't Like, how can I say no to the? It's like the Granny Weatherwax and Yoga and everything. It's like, okay, fine, no, they're really good too. And then Rincewind and the Wizards, and there's like no down point on it. There's no negative to any of them. Like, I'd say probably the one that really stands out to me. I was just saying this actually literally before in our internal meetings for the Kickstarter. So I think my peak, the best book, in personal opinion, and everybody's, I'm sure, going to pillory me in the comments. Best book I think in the series for me is probably Night Watch. Like, just absolutely, just a fantastic book. Let alone like a great Discworld book, but just like a fantastic book. Just brings such depth to the characters. Just tells a really interesting story. This story is really interesting for now as well, for our times now as well. Political instability and blah blah blah. Really, really interesting to read. And to see how people do act in times of crisis and how people should act in times of crisis. I think it's just like, it just hits the nail on the head for like just the right tone, balancing humor with with real seriousness, with pathos, whatever. I mean, I don't know if it comes across, but I really love this one.
just a little.
Just a touch. Really, really, really like it.
What about you, Chris?
Well, God, I remember my brother got me a box set, which kicked off with Colour of Magic. So that was like my first experience of the world. So Rincewind's mad adventure with the luggage. More recent, and then I discovered Guards later. But the scene that always sticks with me is the the poor cult leader who's trying to summon the dragon, and he's got all these useless cultists around him that are bickering amongst themselves and constantly getting distracted. And I think Sterry was channeling every middle management and project manager through that scene. And I don't know, it's just something that's always made me chuckle when you kind of think back to it. And it's like, you're going to be the first one burning when the dragons come. And of course, Vimes, I mean, he just obviously the series of the books, he's just such a great character, like the drunken failure, which us British always like, depreciating ourselves. So I think we see a bit of Vimes in ourselves.
I did see a question in chat that I know that we had wanted to discuss, and this was kind of perfect for it. Our setting, before we dive into looking specifically at the Kickstarter and what we've unlocked, what we have planned, and how it's going and what we're working on, I did want to discuss the setting. Why did we choose, and why are we going for the setting specifically of the Ankh-Morpork?
So it comes down to a number of things, but really there's a strategy behind it, both for customers, retail, for us as an internal team, making sure that we can deliver what we promise. So there's some wording on the Kickstarter, so for anyone that wants to read a bit more about it, there's different layers of this that you can go and dig into on the Kickstarter. We talk about it specifically, and then also Samantha Webb, our head of brand as well, published a really good article as well explaining like sustainability in Kickstarters, and like that's a really big part of it. But Ankh-Morpork is like, it's London, it's New York City, it's it's the big bustling heart of the disc, and so there are endless stories that you can tell in that location. Right? It's probably the star of more books than any other location in any book, right? So it makes the most sense to focus there, first off the bat. But like I said as well, right? There's a strategy, there's a plan to this. So Lanka and Ubervoud are also massively popular. Something that people will be asking for, I'm sure. That's why we have a specific answer for what about Lanka and Ubervoud. I mean, people will ask about Havunderland, people will ask about, etc. Absolutely. But what we thought would be better, the classic Kickstarter is we'll promise you the moon. We'll say, we're going to deliver 400 books and we're going to do it in a year. And that never happened. And it takes 5 years, 6 years. I mean, we've had that history in the past, right? A long time ago, we deliberately restructured ourselves to not do that anymore, because promising an endless number of books and then just annoying backers forever into the future saying like, oh yeah, but just like 6 more months, just 9 more months, or whatever. So what we want to start doing is and we've started doing this over the last couple of years. It's not something that's new to Discworld, but we want to deliver what we promised. We want to deliver it quickly, so we want to have it in your hands. So it's not that big of an outlay that you're waiting to receive your things. Plan is always to deliver within 1 year, 1 calendar year of the Kickstarter. That's what we're aiming at again here. So if we can focus ourselves on delivering the best possible Ankh-Morpork product, we can do that in that time frame. We can, there's other books to unlock, there's PDFs to unlock, there's things you're seeing it already popping up, and we're only saying what we think we can deliver in that time, and a lot of it is already done, right? Because we develop these things ahead of time so that we can deliver in that time frame. If we started writing it now as we were kickstarting, it would be impossible. We'd never deliver it in a year. So we focus on Ankh-Morpork now. We deliver you the best possible experience that you can in Ankh-Morpork. We give depth to that. And Ankh-Morpork's deep, right? In the books, there's 41 novels or whatever, right? There's a lot to go into. And like, if we did everything all in one, I don't think we'd be doing justice to Ankh-Morpork. So now we keep costs low for you, the customer, so that you can back this Kickstarter and not have to spend an enormous amount of money. And I know lots of people, £300 at the top pledges is a lot of money, absolutely. But that's why we made every pledge accessible as possible. We tried to keep costs within reason. And again, that's why we're spreading it out the way we are. That's why if this is successful, if this is successful, let's look at the numbers. It's doing pretty well. I think we can say that it's going to be successful. But the more people come to this, tell all your friends about it. Like, the more people come to this, the more and more likely there are to be more products in this line. We want to use Kickstarter in a different way for this Discworld Kickstarter, and like this Discworld line of products. There will be retail products, but they won't be the products that you're backing here, right? So I want to be really clear about that. Again, that's part of why we chose Ankh-Morpork. I know this is like a rambling thing that is like, it feels like, is it connected? Yeah, absolutely, right? Because you have to think about all of these different bits, all of these different strings when you're trying to put together a strategy like this. This way we can deliver you the best possible product. Then we can do Lancre and Uberval, and we can do it justice. So Lancre and Uberval will be another Kickstarter. As it says in the Kickstarter page, this is not new news. Like, it will not be earlier than the end of 2026. It will be, Q3, Q4 probably. Let's be honest with ourselves. I don't want to burn out our team. I want us to really spend like proper time, give it the TLC that it requires, and deliver the best possible Lancre and Uberval, experience to players. But keeping the price again at a reasonable point. £90, £100 as an entry point to RPG is pretty good, and you get really good quality product for that. You get more than your money's worth, and we'll be doing the same again in the next Kickstarter, Lancre and Uberval, and maybe watch this space here, maybe even more. So yeah, that's why there's so many parts to that question. I could keep going, honestly, but I'm going to stop myself there. I mean, if people want to ask more detail, I can go into it. But
yeah, and I was going to say, somebody did ask a question that was kind of like tied to this a little bit. So they were saying this might be a question that we discuss in the next hour chat, unless you think that either of you can answer this.
Let's try.
So the city changes. The city changes throughout the series. Will the manuals be set temporarily after the novel? So they're asking kind of like the timeline of the setting.
Interesting. So there will be stretch goals that will answer some of that. So I don't want to give away all of it necessarily. The main book is set at a specific period. I think it would probably be better, you're right, to get the next group to answer the absolute specific, but we're talking about like the end of the century of the fruit bat era. We're talking about like right in the heart of the Discworld novels is where we're really talking about, when the Watch is a multicultural, part of the city, right? Which you'll see from the Quickstart. You can see that it's already a multicultural organization within the city. So you can sort of see where it's at. That's the majority of the Ankh-Morpork. But it might not be the only place we visit, the only time we visit, is all I'll say. I don't know if I want to go into more detail yet, or if I want to leave that for people to discover in the Kickstarter.
Awesome. I have seen a few questions specifically regarding the Kickstarter. So why don't we take a look at the Kickstarter and what people can expect. Starting right off the bat, we do show that we are doing some translations of the Kickstarter. Can you speak more on that, like where we are with that and what specific languages we have and everything? I know it's on the Kickstarter page, but for people watching that just want to like know more information about it.
Oh, we've lost you, Cam.
Yeah, sorry, I went too. I unmuted myself. I muted myself instead of unmuting myself. I didn't want you all to hear me drinking water. I thought that was probably bad audio for the average person listening. So we're in the process of discussing with lots of different partners. As you can see probably on the Kickstarter, those that have already looked, we are going to do a French one, but French is going to be run by Arcane Asylum. Our friends at Arcane Asylum, Mathieu and the team over there are going to do that. They're going to do it separately. Because the French market is slightly different and works in a different way, and they're going to do it that suits them in a slightly different way. But it's going to be exactly the same stretch goal, same blah, blah, blah. The languages that you see on there, they're all going to be done by partners that we trust, partners that we know, people that we think are pretty much best in class. There will be announcements of exactly who's going to be doing each translation. As the ink is dry on the contracts. We've already got the people lined up that you see the flags for, but I also want to let them say hello themselves. There's going to be some updates and some blog posts from them, like introducing themselves as, you know, so if you don't know who that translator is, they can do a little bit of an intro to them as well and see the other stuff that they've done. So that will be coming in the next, few days, couple of weeks across the period of the Kickstarter. You can pretty much be guaranteed that most of that's coming this week.
And just so you know, to get a different language, you don't need to tell us now. When you go into the pledge manager after the project closes, you'll simply choose the language you want. So there'll be hopefully more languages that we do unveil through the project. So whatever the final list is, you'll have a little selector so you'll pick English or French, well, not French, German or Polish or whatever.
The only one you can't do. Yeah, no, there was also a question that came up a couple of times earlier as well, so I'll just cover that as well for anyone listening, that people ask, can they get things in multiple languages? Just in order to make sure that it's not a nightmare for our logistics team. Each pledge will be fulfilled in one language, but in the pledge manager, you will be able to add extras, etc., and put those pledges into different languages. So if you want to buy it in 2 languages, you can look at doing it in pledge manager.
That's awesome. So that's something kind of like new. I think we haven't done specifically with any of our Kickstarters in the past, right? Like this is.
Yeah, we've never included a language for the role playing. That's his name.
That's awesome. Very cool. So we have our setting. We know where the story takes place. We know a little bit more about that. People have been able to play the Quickstart. The Quickstart is out now. You can download it for free from our website, our web store. But there is something that a lot of people are noticing. So the dice mechanic. I know we can go into deeper detail with the next group, but it's not 2d20. How did that come about? That's an interesting.
That was quite specific as a decision, because like we obviously love 2d20 at Magicians. Like it's our baby, so of course we love 2d20. But it's like with anything, right? Each tool is only good at specific jobs. You don't use a sledgehammer to crack a wall and blah, 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 and all that, right? So 2d20 does a certain set of things really, really well. And it fits perfectly for things like our Fallout game, for our Act of Cthulhu game, for our Cohorts Cthulhu stuff. So like for all of the things that we do, right? But the bit that didn't work for us was how narrative Discworld really gets, and how uncrunchy, how unnumbery the Terry Pratchett world is. Like there's quotes from Sir Terry that talk about, adding things up to numbers and whatever isn't really his jam, and how he doesn't like that. So we really wanted to make sure that was part of it. And Discworld is all about the power of words. Literally, in the library of the Unseen University, like words have magical, massive power. And so we thought, why not reflect that in the game as well? It also makes it more accessible, right? So, you know, there's a lot of people that are already backing this. We can already see in the numbers. There's a lot of people already backing this who are not necessarily RPG players, who are fans of Discworld. You know, that number's only going to keep growing. So, you know, tell your friends who are Discworld fans who maybe haven't played an RPG. This is designed for you. This is fun and fast and funny. You know, that's the whole point of it. And you don't need to be a hardcore tabletop gamer to play it. And that was a deliberate choice to let the Discworld audience come and discover something that maybe they've never touched before.
Yeah,
I really like that. Like you said, that it's going to be set up in a way that people that have never played a TTRPG before, but maybe are really interested in Discworld, maybe this is their gateway. Maybe this is their end to discovering TTRPGs.
Oh yeah, and you got to think you can see the majority of the rules in the Quickstart, right? So if you're scared off by what's in the Quickstart, fair enough, absolutely understood. But it's not, the rule set isn't super deep. So that means that when you get into the core book, there's nuances, there's stuff in the core book that you haven't seen in Quickstart, but the majority is there, right? But the core book is as well, it's just like a love letter to Discworld. So if you're just a fan of the Discworld books and you have no interest in playing this game, you can still buy this. And it's just a beautiful thing to have in your house and have all this information in place and have this beautiful art, new and old. We've got new and old art in there, including the Paul Kidby cover, which is absolutely beautiful. They're just like, you know, it's just a beautiful piece. Like, I can't get across how much I really want this thing in my house. I cannot wait to get my copy.
I think that's something that we've done a really excellent job as a company with. We so often I hear, you know, since I am on our social media all the time, answering questions and seeing comments and stuff, a lot of people will just grab our books, like our Star Trek books, our Dune books, just because not necessarily because they want to play it, but because they like the extras that they get to learn about, you know, these settings and these worlds, and they like the art that we have in the books, and so they like using them for references for that, and just like a nice little collector's keepsake. So.
And that's like part of what I said before about the unsung heroes that we haven't talked about enough in any of this, that are in the credits page, and always read the credits page, people. Like, really, it's like those people make these things happen. Shout out to the art department, shout out to the graphics department, to the editing team, to the developers, to everyone that has worked on this, like the finance team. Like, without all of these people, these games don't happen. Like, it's hard work that they put into it that makes these things look so pretty, that makes them read so well, that gives people that, you know, value of, like, I can just love this thing even if I never play it. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just really pretty. We try and make sure that everything we make lives up to that. The aim always. Sometimes we fall short, but we try our hardest.
People were really excited about the cover art for the core rulebook. It's absolutely beautiful. I think some collectors would want it just for the cover art alone, because it's a beautiful art piece.
Yeah. That's
why we're doing the print. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Well, I saw it up close when we were doing the filming with Rob and Louis, and it's amazing. I mean, that whole Escher style look out the world of Discworld is just beautiful. He's done an incredible job.
And like to shout out specifically, like Paul Kidby, obviously smashing it every time. Also Alex at the estate as well, who helped with getting that as well done, and then Rothio, who art directed it. Like, without all of the team, without multiple people pulling together, you don't get something that looks like that. Obviously, Paul was the one that smashed it out of the park and has given us something that we couldn't even dream of looking as good as that. But fantastic piece of work.
It's full of so much detail. It's like one of those Where Wally's images where you're like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't see this little guy hanging upside down. And it's just, you look at this image closely, which of course, remember, is hand painted. Like, this thing, he's been spending weeks painting this piece of art. Absolutely beautiful. And you will spend hours finding little weird little details in it.
I've had several people comment saying that they want this as a poster. They want a print of it specifically. Which is perfect to jump into our reward tiers. Let's just go ahead and talk about what, the extra add-ons and stuff like that. So could y'all walk us through what our reward tiers look like for the Kickstarter and what people will get at different levels?
So I will caveat all of this by saying that me and Chris are not the best people to do this. That doesn't mean that we won't, and we'll give you a broad overview, but the next group are the experts, right? Again, like we employ really good people. They're fantastic at their job, and we try and stay out of their way. As much as I love Discworld, I don't know how to write an RPG, so I don't write an RPG. I get an amazing team to do that. How to run a Kickstarter, we have an amazing team that does that, so we get them to do that. So you've obviously got your standard bind, £1 hand binds. All of this is Vimes related, right? Because what the beating heart of Ankh-Morpork in lots of ways is Sam Vimes, so why not follow Sam through his journey? So Sam Vimes is just £1, follow along, see what's going on, come back as at a higher pledge later. Lance Constable is the PDF level, so lots of people always ask for the PDF level. People like having the PDFs, etc. So it's just the PDF product. You'll also get all the PDF unlocks as well at Lance Constable, but there's no physical product, to be clear, on Lance Constable. So it's just the cheapest, easiest way to get into the game. Sergeant at Arms, though, is for those people that is a bit more, the traditional tabletop buy. They want the physical book, they want the core book, comes along with the dice, etc. And there will be the occasional stretch goals that come in the later tiers, but that's going to be really well messaged on Kickstarter. So, people are going to ask questions, I'm sure, in the chat in a minute as we go through this. And I'm just going to say, keep checking the Kickstarter. We're going to keep getting better and better with the messaging of exactly what gets unlocked at what pledge level. There's going to be more graphics, there's going to be more explanation, so keep checking there for the detail. I am not the font of knowledge on that. Then we go up to Captain. Again, we're following Captain Vimes now. So this is, the collector's edition. This is where we want to give the people who have a little bit more money, want that a little bit more, but where really they're just wanting to get in base level. This is what I want. I want that beautiful piece of art. Reminder that the beautiful art book, all of these products are only on the Kickstarter. So if you want this stuff, you've got to get it while it's on Kickstarter. Then you go to Commander. Commander's like the bit more, someone that wants the game, wants the experience of the game. So you get the adventure book as well now. You get the game master screen. You get a set of dice. There's other stuff that I'm leaving off here, guys. So don't. Again, not the font of knowledge. Don't have all of the details. Talk to the guys in a minute. Then you go up to Duke of Ankh, which is the collector's edition cover of the same thing. Again, we're just trying to give people lots of options, lots of ways to get in, keep everything as accessible as possible, keep these price points as low as possible. Everybody's saying, why can't we unlock all the stretch goals? Why can't we have all of it? Because then I'd have to put the price up, and I want to try and keep this affordable for people. If you want more, you can add on anything you want to any pledge level pretty much. And if you really want everything and you don't want to think about it, just go for my next one here, Blackboard Monitor. So Blackboard Monitor is everything. Every stretch goal, digital, physical, everything. Everything that we unlock, everything that you already see, is all in Blackboard Monitor. That's the one that I'm going for. I'll tell you that already, because I want all of it.
And that dice tray. Well. That dice tray.
The dice tray.
Oh.
Cannot get over that dice tray. It looks so... really, really, really good. That's the thing that people have said about Blackboard Monitor. Who's Blackboard Monitor for? The Discworld fan in your life. Just not to sound too salesy, but really it's aimed at GMs and it's aimed at collectors. It has everything. So for the collector, it has everything. It has the print, which is how we spun down this road. It has the Paul Kidby print as a poster. Not just as the front cover of the piece on the collector's edition. It has 4 sets of dice for now. It might even have 5 now. Did we unlock already the death dice? I think we did. It now has 5 sets of dice, if that's true. Yes, we did unlock the death dice. So it now has 5 sets of dice. So it's for the whole table. Those dice that we're starting to unlock, the dice at the beginning, the Octarine dice, are beautiful, really, really stunning dice. those are your standard sort of like, polyhedrals, resin dice. But then we go into the premium dice, like the real premium dice, where we're talking about, our friends at Nordic Foundry made the death dice, and there's other things to come that I won't spoil here. But they are stunning. The death dice are outrageous. Like, I really, really, really love those. So, like, I would back a Black Ball Monitor just to get those dice.
Somebody was asking how they unlock the watch dice. Is that...
It's a coming.
That's, yeah.
Okay.
There's more stretch goals. Watch this space. There's more stretch goals. We're trying to... I know people have commented on the stretch goals already as well, about how, like, the jumps are a bit, like, different and whatever. You guys love this product. We're trying to make sure that there are stretch goals for you to keep seeing. Because it's going fast, and that's fantastic. And there's lots of stuff that we are going to unlock, and we know we're going to unlock, and we're going to unlock as much as we can. If we want to unlock everything, but we're just trying to make sure as well that there's always something for you guys to see that's coming, rather than just we've unlocked everything on day one. But how can we afford it? Don't know. Question mark. Like, better to make sure that we definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are at, goodness gracious, what are we at right now? Someone Yeah, someone at the beginning of the stream was like, will you reach 500,000 by the time the stream starts? And we're already at 600.
Certainly, yeah. Maybe by the time it finishes.
Yeah, might be.
None of this is possible without all the fans, obviously. Like, this is one of the big reasons, we're talking about the stretch goals and the pleasure of everything, right? Like, Discworld is so close to so many of our hearts here. We want to do justice by Soterri, like, really, really do. Like, we've tried really hard to make this as honest a portrayal of Discworld as possible and of Soterri's work. But without all of you people backing us, like, this isn't possible, right? Like, this is this. You guys are showing the love, I hope, for us, but certainly for Soterri, right? And at the end of the day, like, his work is a masterpiece. That's why most of us are backing this round, because we love it.
Someone spoke to something I really like. It has nothing to do with this, but I do love Mistborn. I saw that comment and I was like, ooh, a Mistborn RPG, my goodness. All right, so we've got some of the stretch goals that we've unlocked. I love our team. Like you were saying earlier, our team are big fans of Soterri's work, and I love some of the language that they use in this. Just like the first stretch goal, funded. It's its own reward, really. Congratulations. Like, the feeling, like, I just love the snark. It's so fun. It's so great.
You got to embrace the British humour, and you got to embrace the voice of Discworld, of Soterri and whatever, so that's what we're going for. He has a beautiful quote. It doesn't quite apply to this, but it kind of gives a flavour of why. But he always talks about the best way to live life is with militant kindness. And I think that's a really good... It's just like, be completely upfront, completely brutal, but be nice. No need to be mean with it.
I like that. Good. Samantha's in the chat answering a couple of questions that I think would be more appropriate for the next group, but Samantha's in there. Thank you, Samantha. So we've got the 2 more bookmark ribbons that was unlocked. The Guild's PDF character sheet postcard pack. That one seems pretty interesting. I like that. And the Lesser Known Streets PDF and the Death Dice set were also unlocked. So coming up... Oh wait, no, we reached... We've got the next 2, and then so we're. Did we unlock the very last one that's on there yet? No, not yet.
Just did Anthropomorphic. Personification PDF, I think.
Yeah, Lesser Known Streets. Yep.
Yeah, so that was the one at 475, and then we go to Hogswatch PDF, and then the Lesser Known Streets actual physical book. So as you can see, like, PDFs start getting rolled into physical books. Those physical books start getting again, it's about sustainability. It's about what we can deliver, what we know we can deliver, about making sure that everybody can write it in time, proofread it in time, and make sure it's the best possible thing. And like these books are just like the Lesson in the Streets, like they already talked a little bit about it, but it just gives you a bit more depth. We don't want to make the core book a tome that's basically like unreadable because it's so big. We wanted to give that information still. But we've still got to write it. We've got to make sure that each product is to the best quality, and we're giving the teams time to make sure that everything's done. And so we've got time, when we were talking before, right, about the translations, making sure that the translators have time as well to translate this stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts to making something like this work.
Yeah.
We also, I was just about to, someone was asking, what were they asking? It was about, I lost it. Well, this one's a funny one. Will you be able to find Sir Terry Pratchett's sword in the game? I think that one's a fun question.
That's a question for the people that may or may not have hidden it.
Yeah.
There are some nice little Easter eggs that I won't spoil, obviously, otherwise there won't be Easter eggs, but there's some nice little Easter eggs floating around, both in the text, in the art, and stuff. So, really get your teeth into it when you get your books. There's stuff that we've tried to like really give people a nice, give people a nice feeling when they find something that they didn't know was there, which is why I'm definitely not going to tell you what it's about.
Yeah, because that's part of the fun of it. Just finding the Easter eggs as you're going along. That's we have them in all of our books. I know that Jim, specifically for Star Trek Adventures, they love sprinkling in little Easter eggs for you to find, and I think that's really fun and fun.
You should see how happy we are internally when people find the Easter eggs, guys. Like, it's really like people are like, "Hey, they found it! And we're all posting in our internal chats.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun when people do that. I would say we do have, so if you are curious how the game plays and you haven't picked up the Quickstart yet and you're just wanting to watch someone play it, we did just recently have a actual play of it that aired last week on Friday. So it is up right now in our YouTube, on our YouTube channel, so you can watch that. It's a pretty quick, I think it was about 2 hours long of an actual play, so really easily digestible. So it's really funny. The crew did really amazing with that. So if you're wanting to watch it and you haven't watched it yet, go check that out. And of course, like I said, you can get the Quickstarter for free right now and check it out if you wanted to look at that before you back it. We were talking about, so some people are asking about the social rewards being unlocked. I think Samantha said in chat that they were going to look into that. So that's good.
There's an element as well of just like, bandwidth of teams and people needing to sleep. So there'll be some things that we might take a little bit of time to get around to updating properly, but we promise you things are being unlocked, etc., and we'll try and get to them as fast as we can. I'm really trying to make sure that the team don't overwork themselves through the Kickstarter, because it's not, these things are stressful and busy and long enough. We're already past work hours and whatever, so I try not to make people work at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever updating graphics.
Yeah, and speaking of that, some people were wanting a closer up look at some of the pictures of like the dice tray and the dice and stuff like that. Over the next few weeks during the Kickstarter, of course, I will be posting pictures, some of the pictures of some of these items on our social media pages and in our Discord. So you will be able to see, bigger pictures of some of these items, just so you can get a better look at the quality.
Which also helps us get our social goals, right? Because come follow us on Twitter, Discord, wherever, so that you can see those images. They're going to come into updates as well. You're going to see bigger images as well through the Kickstarter. So
you glitched for a second.
Yeah, there'll be the updates. We'll go into a lot more detail on stuff. So there's plenty of information that we've got to share. We just don't want to dump it all on. If we put all of that stuff into that one project page, you'd be scrolling for hours. And so we want to give it a chance to breathe. We're going to do updates about the dice set, about the dice tray, like what else can you expect in the core book, that kind of thing. So there'll there's a lot to share. And then as we do that, we'll be posting links to, like hot links to the best updates to find out more, towards the top of the page. So it'll be easy to find out what you need.
Awesome. There was another question I saw. So I answered that one. Can we speak to where we are at? What vision for Alchemy? What's the vision for Alchemy as the VTT? Oh, okay. I see what you're asking. So I could answer that one because we were talking about it just the other day. So a lot of people want to play online with their friends and be able to enjoy Discworld while playing through a VTT platform, and Alchemy is definitely going to be one of the VTTs that we have Discworld on. We are talking to a few of the other ones, but Alchemy is the one that we can confirm, and they've done an amazing job with our Fallout the role-playing game, and I believe they're working on it's either out or not yet, but Star Trek Adventures. So I know that so Alchemy will be definitely one of the ones that we have on there, and some of the other ones hopefully we'll be able to announce soon as well. Don't ask about Mrs. Cake. What? What was the question? Now I'm curious. Now I have to scroll. I know. So yeah, if you have any,
one of the denizens of Ankh-Morpork. The next team can talk more on Mrs. Cake if people have questions about Mrs. Cake.
Awesome. Okay, so if you have any other questions for the guys, please pop them into chat, and I'm going to go ahead and put the link in real quick. I know my keyboard is loud. I'm so sorry. So that's the link for the Kickstarter. Is it related to the Soul Cake Duck? Yeah, we're
getting some proper Discworld stuff, Discworld referencing. So don't worry about it.
It's so much fun. Of course, if we're looking back at the Kickstarter, we've got the shipping estimates, which people always comment on the shipping estimates. It's just part of Kickstarter. We can't, these are round, right? These are roundabout numbers. We can't control what things are going to be like when we fulfill, right? So that's there.
Things we always change so much. Like, for example, there's the big strike in the ports, I think on the East Coast, that just got put back. And if we were shipping right now, there would be big surcharges on the shipping, and so we have to try and account for that in all the shipping estimates, and obviously prices go up in January, so across the board, and assuming there's no other madness going on in the world, goodness forbid. So it's always a little bit of a throwing a dart in the darkness and hoping that you hit close to the mark. And then what we try and do is see if we can improve it by the time the actual pledge managers start charging shipping.
Yeah, we've done lots of fulfillment worldwide now, so like the team's like pretty close. Like we can, again, like Chris said, unless something happens that we can't control for, like we usually are relatively close. So fingers crossed again on this one.
Yeah, same with our planned schedule. It says planned schedule, but things don't always go to plan, but it is the plan. Yeah. So we're hoping that it sticks to this planned schedule. So it says writing and design, January of 2025, editing, February 2025, layout, April 2025, proofreading, PDF fulfillment, and then physical fulfillment. We're looking, like you said earlier, the physical fulfillment, we're looking at August 2025. So next fall, if all goes according to plan and the world is at peace.
We've got a tiny bit of fat built into there and stuff for everybody. So it shouldn't slip. It might. There are things that we can and can't control, as always with this stuff. We will try everything in our power to deliver it for the time that we're talking about. Like I said already, our internal deadlines and guidelines for this is that we want to deliver within 1 calendar year. So that's always the target.
Have they explained the big
Wahoonie book?
Yes, and the narrative dice options. Yeah.
No. So I don't think we talked about the big Wahoonie, but I think the next team can go into more detail. I can give you the broad strokes, which is it's.
And he was magically cut off before he revealed the secret.
Don't know. I don't know what is happening. Sorry. This is why I do spreadsheets and contracts, and I deal with translators, and I don't do streaming. That's why we have people for streaming. So apologies. No, I'm gonna say sorry. It's an adventure book, like first and foremost. But the Big Wahoonie is the nickname for Ankh-Morpork. Play on the Big Apple and all that, and it's tales from. It's a set. Scenario stories, things that you can do in the Big Wahoonie.
Chris, did you have anything to add?
No.
I will say that along with the actual play that we just did, like I said last week, if you scroll down to the bottom of the Kickstarter, you will be able to see there are other actual plays, there are some reviews, and so please watch those. They've got a lot of great information in them, and they're just really they can give you a little bit more information if you're on the fence as people are reviewing it and playing it. Where does the RPG fit? Okay, in terms of Discworld timeline. Okay, so we did kind of talk about this a little bit, but the timeline, where does the RPG fit?
So like I said before, think about the time period where the Watch is a multicultural organization. That's where we're set. That doesn't mean it's the only time period we may or may not visit. Keep checking back at Kickstarter for more information.
Yes. And I know y'all talked about, how you got into Discworld and what it means to you and stuff like that. Did y'all specifically say what your favorite book was? Did you have a favorite book?
I did, but I don't know if Chris said that favorite book.
Mine was Guards.
Okay.
As much as Color of Magic was the first one, for a lot of people it was the first book, but Guards was definitely thematically. It's such a classic fantasy city, and the characters are so rich. It was so much fun. So yeah, that's my favorite.
To be fair as well, the more I think about it as well, I want to put one of the witches up there. Like a really, really like Masquerade. That's probably an unpopular opinion. I don't know how many people would put Masquerade that high up, but I really liked Masquerade. And Lords and Ladies. To be honest with you, like Granny Weatherwax is a great character, Nanny Og is a great character. Like, how can you can't ask me these questions? It's too hard. I said Night Watch because Night Watch is the first one that comes to mind. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the correct answer.
So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask them with our next group. Next up, we're going to be talking with Andrew and Bryce and Samantha, who have been involved with the project and creating the TTRPG and writing on it and getting the project set up. So please stay tuned for that chat. And if we didn't answer any questions about the Kickstarter for you during this chat, you can always ask them in the Kickstarter chat, and you can also go on our Discord and ask questions there. We are very active on both. But thank you both so much. Did you have any parting words of wisdom and parting thoughts or anything like that before we sign off and get started with the next group?
Tell all your friends about Discworld.
Tell all your friends about Discworld.
Not even just about us. Legitimately, shout out to Discworld itself. Even if you don't want to get them to come back to this Kickstarter, just get them to read one of the Terry Pratchett books. Life-changing, at least in my opinion. Go read literally any of them, pick one at random, but probably don't start midway through an arc, because that will get very confusing. But there's so many to start, and if you ask me which one to start on, we'll be here all day. And literally, April's kicking us out. There's new people coming in, so I don't know. There's a million places to start. I'd probably say guards, but also any of the witches books with the witches. But I don't know. Just go read one of the books if you haven't read one before.
I always say if you're having a bad day, just open the pages at random, and Sir Terry's infinite words of wisdom will reach out from the grave and share something that will make you probably cough your biscuit and cup of tea up.
Well, what's the librarian? The librarian gets endlessly frustrated with people reading the words out, reading the words to death or whatever, right? Like literally read Terry Pratchett until the librarian is annoyed.
That makes me think of the TikToks where they take the Swiss cheese and then they slap it on a book and then they read the words that are in the circles of cheese. That makes me want to do it with this now, just to see what nonsense you could come up with on that.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Well, thank you both again for joining me today. And everyone, please stick around because we will be getting into our next chat here pretty soon. So we'll see.
People that know even more about it, go talk to them.
Yes. All right. Thanks again.
All right.
See you later.
See you, folks.
Bye.
Bye.